She built a wall across my driveway, a 6-foot wooden barricade, bold yellow letters screaming closed until compliance, HOA enforcement action. And I stood there like a fool, holding a bag of feed, unable to even step onto my own land. That's when I realized this wasn't a dispute. It was a siege. And if I didn't stop her, I was going to lose everything. Let me take you back to the start. My name is Jack Harper. I'm 42, used to work IT in Phoenix, but I'd been dreaming of ranch life for as long as I can remember. After Dad passed, he left me just enough to finally do it. I bought a 9-acre fixer-upper out by Riverbend, Arizona. No neighbors close by, no city rules, just hills, an old barn, and a farmhouse with a creaky porch swing that felt like peace itself. I did everything by the book. Title search, lawyer double-checking, no HOA, no catches. Even the old man who sold it to me laughed when I asked, "Son, I ain't seen the HOA since Bill Clinton had color in his hair." The first few days were heaven. I got up early, fed my 2 goats, muffin and peanut, painted the fence, drank coffee with the sunrise, slept like I was finally alive again. Then came Wednesday. I got back from town with fence posts in the truck bed, and there it was, taped right to my door like a ransom note. Notice of violation, Hill Valley HOA. I damn near laughed. It listed unauthorized livestock, non-compliant mailbox, unapproved structure alterations, and a bill for $843 in back dues. I thought it was a prank. Maybe some bitter neighbor with too much time. But no, there was a number. I called. A chipper woman answered in Hill Valley HOA. How may I help you? I just bought this property last week, 205 Mountain View Lane, and got a violation notice. There's no HOA on my deed. Silence. Then, "Oh, that a property? Yes, we reactivated the HOA. All surrounding land is included. Yours too." I blinked. "What, my title search?" "It's not our fault you didn't do your research." And that was the first time I heard her name. Deborah Alton, HOA president, and the woman who would later call the cops on me and try to steal my land. Within days, it got worse. A lady on a bike circled my property with a GoPro strapped to her head. Some guy in khakis took pictures of my barn. Then came the letters. Dozens. Fines for non-existent chickens. Warnings about unauthorized wind chimes. Legal threats with made-up bylaws. So I did what anyone would do. I put up a sign. Private property, not part of HOA. 3 hours later, a golf cart tore up my driveway like it was the Indy 500. Out stepped Deborah. Blonde bob, clipboard in hand, pastel blouse too bright for her personality. She shouted, "That sign violates Section 3.2 of the Community Harmony Guidelines." I told her flatly, "You're trespassing. Leave." She smirked. "We'll make you comply." I thought she was bluffing. Then, 2 days later, 2 sheriff cruisers showed up. Lights flashing, hands on holsters. Deborah was right behind them, holding a folder like it was a damn holy book. "He's refusing to pay dues," she barked. "He's endangering the community with unlicensed livestock and storing equipment unsafely." I just stood there in my work boots, gripping a feed bucket, feeling like the earth had cracked under me. The officers asked for paperwork, so I went inside and grabbed the deed, the title, the county certificate, everything. When they saw it, their tongue shifted. One looked at Deborah and said, "Ma'am, this land has no active HOA recorded. Your documents aren't binding." She turned red. "We voted. We have bylaws. We mailed flyers." That was the day I realized this wasn't about law. It was about control, power, and Deborah wasn't going to stop until she broke me. I tried to fight back. I called the county. The clerk confirmed Hill Valley HOA had dissolved in 2005. Anything since then was unofficial. But that didn't stop Deborah. The next morning, I found 6 new letters in my mailbox. Fines, threats, a notice of intent to place lien. I called again. "This is Jack Harper." "Oh, yes," the voice snapped. "You'll be hearing from our legal committee." I started to spiral. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't focus. I even started wondering, what if they're right? What if I missed something? What if this dream I worked my whole life for, this peaceful life, was a lie? I remember sitting on the porch that night, goats asleep in the barn, moonlight hitting the gravel drive, and thinking, maybe I should just sell. Maybe it's not worth it. But then I got angry. I didn't move out here to be bullied by some clipboard tyrant in a golf cart. I called my lawyer when we filed a cease and desist. I posted a video online, me standing at the property line, explaining everything. They're trying to take my home, and I won't let them. That video blew up. Overnight, I had thousands of comments, support pouring in, people sharing their own HOA horror stories. And that's when the war really began. Monday morning, I woke to the sound of a truck idling. I stepped out and froze. Deborah had sent a crew. They were digging a ditch across my driveway. One guy hammered in a sign, a future site of Hill Valley HOA Welcome Center. I ran out. Get off my land. The guy shrugged. We were told this is HOA land. I pointed to Deborah, sipping iced tea in her cart like she was Cleopatra. You've gone too far. She didn't blink. You're obstructing community land. Pay your dues or face consequences. When I called 911, she smirked. You want war, Mr. Harper? You got it. The deputies arrived. Deborah waved her fake badge. But one officer, Deputy Keller, wasn't having it. Ma'am, unless you can show a legal HOA attachment, this is trespassing. And that's when Deborah snapped. We voted. We passed a motion. He's in violation of Ordinance 12B. No, ma'am, Keller said deadpan. You're in violation of common sense. They forced her to remove the ditch, the signs, the poles. But the next day, I got a notice that chilled me to the bone. Barn scheduled for demolition. Complaint filed. Action in 7 days. Deborah had submitted photos to the zoning board claiming my 1960s barn was unsafe and illegally constructed. I tore through the attic until I found it, an old plaque, built 1963, permitted 1981, county file 17. We filed the appeal, won. But Deborah didn't stop. The final straw came a week later. I came home, and there it was, the wall, 6 feet tall, screaming HOA slogans, my driveway completely sealed off. I parked on the road, climbed over a fence, heart pounding like war drums. As I stared at the wall, Deborah pulled up and handed me a document. Notice of intent to foreclose. You brought this on yourself, she said coldly. I was shaking, not from fear, from fury. Deputy Keller came back, this time with a supervisor. They called the county, pulled up records, and right there in front of Deborah and half the neighborhood, they said it. This land is not under HOA jurisdiction. This wall is illegal. Remove it or face criminal charges. She sputtered, tried to argue, tried to lie. Didn't work. That night, I watched her crew, red-faced, silent, take down every board while I sat with a cold beer and my goats at my feet. But it wasn't over. 2 days later, I was served papers. Deborah was suing me for defamation, emotional distress, and destruction of community image. She wanted $250,000. We went to court. I was nervous as hell, but my lawyer came armed with video evidence, neighbor affidavits, county rulings. The judge, she didn't need long. This case has no merit, she said, and the plaintiff is ordered to pay all legal fees. Deborah gasped like she'd been shot. Her lawyer just shook his head. And me? I walked out of that courtroom free, vindicated, still shaking but standing. Deborah sold her house 2 months later, moved to some gated community where she could bully people who asked for it. Her so-called HOA, gone, dismantled. Neighbors who once feared her started stopping by, sharing stories, offering help, even asking about starting a real community group. But I didn't need power. I didn't need control. I just wanted peace. So I built a new sign at the front gate. It's not big. It doesn't shout. Just 4 words painted by hand. No HOA, kindness only.